How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Lawmakers continue to quarrel over crypto nightmare. Lawmakers and experts met in Washington, D.C. today to discuss how to better regulate the fast-moving and complex world of cryptocurrency, but like always, they didn't really come up with any solid solutions. Tuesday, they had a meeting titled Crypto Crash, Why Financial System Safeguards Are Needed for Digital Assets, where some experts said it would be best to let the industry flourish and allow innovation, while yet others that warned that it has a big risk to traditional finance. Well, no duh. Bitcoin was made because traditional finance sucks. This crypto nightmare isn't over yet. We're still learning the full extent of the fallout of the FTX collapse, Sherrod Brown said, urging for strict regulation. So you got someone pointing to something we failed to regulate and saying, hey, we need to just put a big hammer down on everything because of this one bad actor that we failed to notice somehow. But we went after Kraken and Coinbase. The Bahamas-based company went bust because it used client money to make risky investment bets through trading firm Alameda Research, prosecutors allege, and its ex-boss and co-founder are now facing 8 criminal charges. But, you know, banks do the same exact thing that FTX did with the dollar. At today's hearing, longtime crypto critic Senator Elizabeth Warren spoke out about how criminals such as drug kingpins use digital assets. Don't think she knows how complicated that would be for some of them. Lee Rayner's policy director of the Duke Financial Economist Center said that crypto world barely resembled anything that Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto envisioned and undermined U.S. national security. So Lee Rayner's must be Satoshi himself, because he knows exactly how Satoshi would feel about the crypto industry. He says 14 years have provided ample evidence to the dire harm of the cryptocurrency. 14 years have provided ample evidence of the dire harm cryptocurrency inflicts on our society, he said. Others urged regulation, but stressed that the technology should be allowed to grow. Georgetown law professor Linda Jung said that crypto could have helped her move her savings abroad had she known how to use the right apps. Senator J.D. Vance, who admitted to owning crypto, said regulators want to make sure they don't destroy the dynamic upside of the digital asset world. So Congress is very split, like they are on most things, because for some reason they can never come up with any solution and work together. So Judge Halt's SEC CFTC case against Sam Bankman-Fried. The civil proceedings from the SEC and CFTC against disgraced crypto founder Sam Bankman-Fried have been deferred until former CEO's criminal case is concluded. If you don't remember, we talked about this earlier. On February 7th, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, representing the government's criminal prosecution, requested that both the SEC and CFTC proceedings be paused until the resolution of the United States vs. Sam Bankman-Fried case. Williams argued at the time that the criminal case's outcome would have a significant impact on the outcome of the civil proceedings, claiming in the filing that running the civil cases simultaneously would give Bankman-Fried time to improperly tailor his defense in the criminal case. The attorney also alleged that Bankman-Fried could improperly obtain information about the prosecution's witnesses as well as circumvent criminal discovery rules. So they're worried about him going for mistrials and stuff and finding ways around things through one court case. So that's why they stopped the cases with the CFTC and the SEC to prevent him from being able to get any leeway. He said that Williams said that the common issues between the civil and criminal proceedings can be resolved first in the criminal proceeding. So any overlap will get solved in this first case, and then the SEC and CFTC can go after Sam Bankman-Fried for everything else that they want to go after him for. Bitcoin, Ethereum trade sideways as market mulls CPI report. So CPI rose to 6.4%, and we expected it to raise to 6.2%. I would have expected this to cause a negative reaction on the market, as that's a 0.2% increase, and we got quite a big move up when we got a 0.1% decrease, but apparently it's not working that way. We'd want to see what happens, and we'll discuss that in the charts. This higher than expected inflation report, even though it wasn't a lot higher, it adds to the potential argument that interest rates would be higher for longer. And same with inflation. The largest monthly gains to CPI came from food, gasoline, and shelter, which they changed how all three of those are calculated, and we'll get into that later. We also got into that last night, which accounted for nearly half of inflation in January. Yeah, and they reduced some of it. The Fed has followed charges and consumer prices closely to gauge how effective its interest rate hikes have been in cooling down the economy, with the goal of bringing inflation down to its target of 2% by making it more costly to borrow money. Members of the Fed voted unanimously this month to raise interest rates by 0.25% to a target range of 4.5% to 4.75%. It's 0.25%. They don't know which one it's going to be. The Fed projected last December that interest rates will raise somewhere between 5.1% and 5.4% by the end of this year, leaving room for more rate hikes ahead. Prior to the CPI report's release, the markets bet that there was a 57% chance that rates would be below 5% by the end of this year. So that's kind of counter. And now it's at 54%. So that's counter to what the Fed is predicting our interest rates to be at. Core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, rose 0.4% as expected in January, after rising 0.3% in December. A majority of the monthly gains to core CPI was driven by shelter, which is now 7.9% more expensive compared to a year ago. January's inflation reading was distinct compared to the month prior because of the changes made to how the BLS incorporated inflation data into its report, readjusting how heavily each category is weighted to better reflect consumer spending patterns. Typically, each category in CPI has been re-weighted every 2 years, but the BLS said it plans to update them annually going forward, basing January's inflation reading on consumer data from 2021. Shelter's weight has increased from 33% of CPI to 34.4%, and food and energy prices have a smaller impact. They calculate these numbers based on what people are doing and demand. I didn't highlight that part of this article, but they do it based on demand, and that's why they have a big push of work from home, and you see gas prices dropping down, because if you're working from home, you're not driving as much, so then they can say, oh, CPI is better because now gas doesn't have as much of an effect. Didn't we talk about ordinals already? No. Ordinals gained momentum with 76,000 NFTs minted to Bitcoin. Despite pushback from Bitcoin peers, Ordinals, the NFT-like project on Bitcoin blockchain, shows no signs of slowing, as over 76,400 inscriptions have been created to date. On February 9th, 2023, exceeding 20,800 inscriptions for that day alone. What distinguishes the ordinals from earlier projects is that the digital assets are inscribed directly onto Satoshis, the lowest denomination of a Bitcoin, without needing a sidechain or a token. So usually when you have NFT projects, like an NFT project on Solana or Cardano or Algorand, you would have a side chain or some other like tokenized version that would be responsible for that, and that's not the case here. Developers have inscribed JPEGs, audio files, videos, and even video games to test the limits of what can go on the Bitcoin blockchain. That kind of has me a little leery there, because if we can get video games on a Satoshi, hopefully we don't start getting malware on Satoshis. Ordinals have been live for a few months now, but it's only really a week old in terms of mass adoption. Brian Law told Decrypt, "It's going to take a while before we see general wallet support." So yeah, not too much more. There's a whole bunch of trading volume going on with these ordinals. Miners have made $92,000 alone from these transactions, so it's adding a lot to the Bitcoin network. The purists say it's adding a lot of garbage to the network. However, other people say it's adding some value to the network. Let me know what your opinion of the whole thing is in the comments. So if we look over at the daily here, we got a pretty strong move up, even though CPI rose. We have a green dot on the daily. Our momentum wave is curling. Our VWAP did cross bullish, and our stochastic is finally pointing up. So those are all some bullish signs. Our money flow is pointing down though, and so is our RSI. So those are kind of counter and a little bearish. However, that could just be because we are starting to get this smaller red candle here. If we look at the 4 hour, we do have a reversal arrow here after we pumped. So that signals that this could be the top of the trend. Our momentum wave is starting to curl off, and our VWAP is starting to come down. Our money flow rejected that cross up and is starting to come back down. Our stochastic just made a bearish cross, and our RSI is starting to curl as well. So a lot of bearish signs here after we made that pump up from our bullish divergence. As you can see, a divergence doesn't mean you're just going to blast to the moon. If we look at the 2 hour, we're getting a red dot on our momentum wave, we're getting a red dot on our stochastic, and our stochastic also has that bearish cross with a bit more aggressive bend in it. Our RSI has a pretty aggressive bend, and we did have a red dot a little while ago on it. Our VWAP just barely crossed under the neutral zone, so we are in the bearish territory, about to be confirming the bearish territory in this VWAP. So not the best look. This is kind of rounding out, so kind of a bearish sign there too. We do have a bearish divergence on our stochastic here, highlighting on the 1 hour, so that is a bearish sign. So if we don't get some money flow to pick up and this VWAP to turn around, then it's likely we could come back down and test the support again. If we test the support for, this would be like the 4th time on the hour, it's getting weaker each time, so it's more likely you're going to break through each time. So it'll be very important for us to move up from here or come back down and fall. So we would want to see price drop and then maybe come back up, hit this box area, retest, and come back up and go up. Or possibly just hit this area, come back down, go up, and just shoot up from there. We don't want to see us come to this line and just fall right through. That'd be a very bearish lane, and then it'd be likely that if we break this area, then we could, still on the drawing tool, then we could start to fall even lower. So that is a one side of caution we have. If we look over at the weekly, sorry, get rid of these lines here. Look at the weekly, our momentum wave's starting to curl over here as well. Our money flow is bearish, so we never got a bullish cross up on this money flow through this whole pump. And our VWAP is starting to come down, and it's almost about to break that neutral zone as well. So the weekly is starting to look pretty bearish as well here. So now on to XRP. XRP got a pretty big move up, just like Bitcoin. A lot of things are going to follow Bitcoin, and we did kind of stop out on the bottom of our flag. That's why I don't always delete my patterns right away, because usually you'll come back and retest them. If we do start to fall from here, that could form a bearish pattern, and then we could see this pattern that I've been warning about for the last few days play out. We are getting a double green dot on our market cipher. Kind of hard to see with this stupid stuff down here you can't get rid of. We have a green dot here, a green dot here, so double green dot. However, our money flow is coming out. Our VWAP did cross bullish, and our stochastic is pointing up, so those are bullish signs. However, they're not looking too strong right now. 4 hour, our money flow is just fluttering along this neutral zone, doesn't know what it wants to do. Our momentum wave looks like it's about to start to curl over here. However, it could continue this momentum if we do start to pick up. Our stochastic looks like it's about to make a bearish cross and could come down, and our RSI is pointing down as well. The 2 hour, we do have this green dot here, which the green dot is a bullish signal. It means we have a bullish momentum coming. However, sometimes it acts more like a top signal if it gets invalidated by like a red X like back here. Our RSI did have a red dot back here, and we continued to move up. We kind of went flat even though RSI is going up, so that's a little bit of a bullish divergence. However, doesn't look like it's going to play out. Our stochastic has a bearish cross and is coming down, and our money flow is about to hit that neutral zone with the VWAP. So not the best look, and our momentum wave, you can't really see it, but it's starting to curl. So a lot of bearish signs on the 2 hour. We'll want to see this start to pick up. If we look over at Algo, looks like we got a pretty strong move up. We bounced off our point of control and right to our SMA. Our stochastic is continuing to move down even though price is trying to go up, and our stochastic didn't move very much on Algo today. Unlike Bitcoin and XRP, it kind of just stayed flat. Our momentum wave is still bearish. Our VWAP tried to cross up, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and our money flow is starting to come down. Over at the 4 hour, it looks like we're starting to round off here. Our stochastic looks like it wants to make a bearish cross, and our RSI is somewhat starting to curl over as well. Our VWAP is starting to point down, so that's not the best look. Our momentum wave did curl up, but it's starting to curl over kind of already, so that's not the best sign. Our money flow is kind of flat, barely above this neutral zone, so Algo's not looking too strong right here right now, unfortunately. If we look at the 4 hour, our money flow is barely above that bullish zone. Looks like it could just break any second now. We have a red dot here in our momentum wave that could confirm. Our VWAP is coming down, about to cross that neutral zone as well, and our stochastic and RSI are falling as well. So very similar to XRP and Bitcoin, we also do have that green dot. However, we're just going sideways. This could create a flag though, and we could reset some of our indicators. If that does happen, then we could get a small move up and retest this ascending channel that we had. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.